Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by the Reverend Ellsworth Tate, St. John's Baptist Church, Charles City, Virginia. The senators will remain standing and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by Senate Page Grace Losey.
I'd like to thank Senator McClellan for inviting me to stand before this august body. Might we bow. Almighty God, creator, sustainer, and ruler of all existence, we humbly seek your presence as we begin the people's work of the Commonwealth of Virginia. We stand before you awed at the magnificent grandeur your hands have created. We are overcome with wonder as we recognize this being only a small part of your work. The earth, the moons, and stars stand as a testament to your elevated splendor. On Valentine's Day, the day in which the world celebrates love, we pray that love's power would permeate this chamber. Love's influence will lead all matters of policy, and that love's healing power would bring peace to this body, this Commonwealth, this nation, yes, even this world. In the name of the one who orders our steps, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll. All those present will please record their vote aye. Clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. Senate Journal for Wednesday, February 13, 2019.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 4.
Ayes 36, noes 4. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the House of Delegates. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, and I hope you're doing well on
Good afternoon, Senator.
Day.
Doing very well. Hope you are as well.
I'm just disappointed you don't have a pink tie on, sir.
I have my Virginia State tie on. You'll know why later. But
Gotcha. Mr. President, I respectfully move we waive the reading of any communications from the House of Delegates.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading of the communication will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 2.
Ayes 38, noes 2. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the governor.
We do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now comes the time in the morning hour where we have the honor and the privilege of welcoming our distinguished guests here with us in the Senate gallery. Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Mr. President, could the Senate be at recess until 12:20, and upon recess there'll be a meeting of the Courts Committee at Senator Obenshain's desk?
Without objection, the Senate will stand in recess until 12:20. Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. We'll now return to the morning hour. And this is the time when we have the honor and the privilege of welcoming our distinguished guests here with us in the Senate gallery. I will give my daily reminder that the way this will proceed is that a senator will stand up, recognize an individual or group. I will then offer the warm welcome of the Senate, and we will wait to the very end and all clap together. I'd like to begin by calling on the senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Senator. Happy
and
Valentine's Day.
Thank you to the senator from Roanoke City and from Hanover and from Petersburg and Northern Chesapeake for all this amazing stuff that is distracting me and making me not prepared for my introduction. Mr. President, I rise for purposes of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
I'm delighted to have this morning in the gallery a huge group of people who I got to visit with in my office this morning. They are here to visit us in the Capitol and learn about the process, and they are young people who are part of the Warrenton Youth Council. And they are here with a member of the Warrenton Town Council himself, Sean Polster, with two of their high school teachers, one who has been teaching government for 44 years and the other for 13 years. And I can tell you I owe much of my engagement in this process and my participation in the Model General Assembly to my high school government teacher. So I want to give them a special round of thanks when the applause comes, and just ask that you please extend to this entire group the very warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the senator. Would our friends and leaders from the Warrenton Youth Council please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are privileged and honored to have you in the Senate, your home. I know that Senator Vogel, who spoke so eloquently about you, is very proud of you, as we all are. I had the opportunity to meet so many of these wonderful young leaders here and was tremendously impressed. You all have tremendously bright futures. We are excited about all that you are doing. We are thankful to the leaders for ushering in this new era of wonderful leadership of our young people. And so I would ask everyone to please join me and extend the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from the Warrenton Youth Council. The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteff.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Senator.
That again. Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Senator.
Mr. President, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Visiting us today in the Capitol, representing the Well-Crafted Wine and Beverage Company, is Travis Vernon, the CEO, a friend from over 25 years, Bud Foltz. We started working together when he got out of the Navy, and his lovely bride, Angela Foltz. They're here to attract a variety of fine wine products from all over the world into Virginia. With that, Mr. President, please give them the warmest welcome from the Senate.
Thank the senator. Would our friends from Well-Crafted Wine and Beverage Company please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for being here today. We are grateful for your presence and very proud of what you're doing in a tremendous industry here in the Commonwealth of Virginia to help our economy grow, to provide jobs, and particularly on Valentine's Day, a lot of people are going to benefit from the work that you're doing. And so we echo the generous and eloquent words of the junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteff. We wish you nothing but success, and I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from Well-Crafted Wine and Beverage Company. Junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteff.
And Mr. President, I'll stay standing for a second introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Visiting the Capitol today are members from the Family Forward and Early Impact Virginia groups. Home visiting changes lives 2 generations at a time. This isn't just a tagline. This is what more than 50 local programs do in our district, serving 10,000 families in evidence-based voluntary support and education programs. Babies are born healthier. Parents are able to do their child's first and best teachers. Kids get to school ready to learn, and parents can be successful in the workforce. Home visitors and families are here today representing CHIP of Virginia, Healthy Families, Parents as Teachers, Early Head Starts, Resource Mothers, Healthy Start, and Nurse Family Partnerships. These programs work through Early Impact and Family Forward Virginia. They are leaders in supporting young families so that their children will thrive and provide a foundation for a successful Commonwealth. Mr. President, let's please give them a warm welcome to the Senate.
Thank the Senator. Would our friends from Families Forward in Early Impact Virginia please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all. It's a wonderful, great group. Thank you for being here today. We are grateful not only for your presence, but for your work and your commitment to the families of the Commonwealth of Virginia, particularly to our young people, helping them get off to a wonderful start in life, no matter where they were born, color of their skin, who they love, what God they pray to. They deserve a shot at the American dream and a chance to rise, and you all make that very real every single day. So you are helping to fill the promise of this nation in the lives of all of our families, and we are grateful to every single one of you for what you do. I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our distinguished guests. Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Mr. President, visiting us from the gallery today are a group of faculty, administrators, and students from Virginia State University. This is just a fraction of the larger group that is here today for Virginia State University's Day at the Capitol, which is an opportunity to get to know one of Virginia's flagship HBCUs and for students and staff to advocate on behalf of the university, as well as public higher education in the Commonwealth. Mr. President, Virginia State University is a school that is close to my heart, as it is where I received my bachelor's degree in nursing. And it is an institution that Virginia can truly be proud of, because in June of 2018, Virginia State University was nationally recognized as the HBCU of the Year by the HBCU Digest. And tonight, Mr. President, there will be a reception in their honor at 5 p.m. at the Credit Union House on 8th Street. Hint, hint, Senators. Mr. President, I would ask that you show Virginia State University some love on this Valentine's Day, and please extend to them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our leaders from Virginia State University please rise in the gallery if you are able? A beautiful group. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for your leadership. And you heard the eloquent words of the Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance, who's a proud alum and someone who has risen to high heights and has never forgotten how she got there. And it was Virginia State University that provided her that path forward, as it has done for thousands and thousands of people throughout its history. We are so proud of you, 2018 HBCU of the Year. I'm also proud of your phenomenal president, President Abdullah, who is a dear friend. And Senator, I am going to show some love to VSU today. I wore the tie. I normally would wear a red tie or a pink tie on today, but wore the Virginia State tie to show how much I'm grateful to every single one of you. I was honored to give the commencement this past year, and you are all rising, and we're so proud of you. I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from Virginia State University. Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Senator. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I guess it is afternoon, isn't it?
We're in the morning hour, though, so you're fine.
I rise for an introduction and a request.
Senator has the floor.
First, the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, we are very pleased today and just pleased to have the presence of some folks that I want to introduce. We have Laura Chafin, who has come to us from Russell County. She doesn't want to be a judge. No. But she is a retired elementary school teacher, so I wouldn't mess with her if I were you. And knowing who her husband is, she must have the patience of Mother Teresa. We also have Sophie Vance, who's the senator's oldest daughter, and she's visiting with us with her daughter, Abby. Now, Abby is 3 years old, and, it's kind of funny. I sit here on the floor with her papa, And, he's a pretty tough guy until he starts talking about AB, and then he gets a little mushy. So, as all grandfathers do. But I asked Senator Chafin what AB likes to do. He said, well, she really loves to go out on the farm, and she loves playing in the creek. And so, it's a pleasure to have the Chafin family here. And so, Mr. President, I hope that you will offer them the very warmest welcome of the Senate of Virginia.
I thank the senator. Would the wonderful Chafin family please rise in the gallery if you are able? Go ahead. Go. You deserve that one and this next one that's coming as well. Laura, Sophia, AB, thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for your wonderful support of a really kind and generous man. Senator Chafin is a wonderful person and a friend, and I know he is deeply proud of every single one of you. AB, your granddad loves you very much, and we all welcome you here as part of the Senate family. I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to the wonderful Chafin family. Senator from Arlington, Senior Senator from Chesapeake.
I had a request. I think this is the right time.
You have the floor.
Mr. President, last week or the week before, we had a memorial resolution for one of our former members, Senator Fred Quayle. And, we spoke about him on the floor, but I'm going to request that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in the honor and memory of Frederick McDonald Quayle.
Thank the senator. So noted. Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Morning, Senator.
I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today in the gallery, we are joined by Dr. Irma Becerra Fernandez. And Dr. Fernandez is the president of Marymount University in Arlington, Virginia. She holds a PhD in electrical engineering and philosophy from Florida International University. She's an educator. Began her career in the private sector, and she holds 4 patents and many copyrights. Dr. Becerra is a strong advocate for a STEM-educated workforce. She brings the mindset of a trained scientist holding a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and other degrees to the balance of the Renaissance woman. Her extensive career also includes serving as a principal investigator at the National Science Foundation and the Air Force Research Lab. She was also a Sloan Scholar at MIT Center for Information Systems Research. She's a true leader and highly regarded in our community in Arlington. We're delighted to have her, and she's bringing an incredibly worldwide vision to Marymount University. So I sincerely ask you and the Senate to welcome Dr. Irma Becerra Fernandez. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Would Dr. Irma Becerra Fernandez, our guest from Marymount University, please rise in the gallery if you are able. Dr. Fernandez, thank you so much for joining us here today. We are deeply honored by your presence and grateful for your leadership of an incredible university. I had the honor of talking with you a little bit earlier and shared that I have a family member who's a proud graduate of your great university, and you have really raised the level of education here in the Commonwealth of Virginia and really had an impact around the country and around the world. We are so proud of you. We look forward to many, many more great things to come for you in that institution. And I would ask everyone, please, to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leader, Dr. Irma Becerra Fernandez. Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Happy Valentine's Day, Mr. President.
Happy Valentine's Day, Senator.
I rise for the purpose of 2 introductions.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, here on the floor, we often talk about second chances, and I'm very happy to say that today in the gallery, we are joined by a group of people who make second chances really happen. Today in the gallery, we have Real Life, True Recovery, the McShin Foundation, and Aura Virginia, who are here to celebrate Reentry and Recovery Day at the General Assembly. And they've been meeting with us in our offices, and they're telling us a little bit about what they do for our community and seeing a little bit about what we do here. And with them, Mr. President, is a dear friend, Sarah Scarborough. And, Mr. President, this year she was awarded the Richmond Times-Dispatch 2018 Person of the Year Award because of her servant leadership in the community for these programs. So, Mr. President, I hope we can offer the warm welcome on Valentine's Day to these guests we have in the gallery today.
Thank the Senator. Would our friends from Real Life please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are honored to have you here in your house, in the Senate, in the capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're very proud of the work that you are doing to give people second chances and to have productive, wonderful lives, to reintegrate into society and contribute so positively. We echo the generous and eloquent words of the Senator from Henrico. We're proud of the work that you're doing. Sarah, thank you for your servant leadership. And thank you for all that you will continue to do to positively impact the lives of so many people here in Virginia and throughout this nation. I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friends and leaders from Real Life. Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also in the gallery today are some very personal friends. I'm so happy to be able to celebrate them on Valentine's Day. They come to see what I do, Mr. President, as they are fierce advocates for me as I have pursued this second adventure in my life, or one of many adventures, to be here at the General Assembly and serve. So please, Mr. President, welcome Ann and Russ Tate and Rob and Sandy Taylor as they join us today in the gallery.
Thank the Senator. Would Ann and Russ Tate and Rob and Sandy Taylor please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are honored by your presence, and I know that the Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan, is very, very happy to see you and grateful for your friendship and your support. I had the privilege and honor of meeting you all earlier, and thank you for your very warm welcome. You're welcome back here, of course, anytime, and we have great people like you who make this Commonwealth a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family. I would ask everyone please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our four distinguished guests. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of myself and the Senator from King George, I'm pleased to call your attention to a visiting group from around the state representing the Virginia Horse Council. Mr. President, this group has for a long time around the Commonwealth promoted the equine industry. One of the things they do is sponsor a legislative trail ride. And in that, and I've participated numerous times, they feed me and let me ride their horses. And for that, I'm very grateful, Mr. President. So I would hope you would extend the greetings of the Senate to this fine group of folks from the Virginia Horse Council.
I thank the Senator. Would our friends from the Virginia Horse Council in the gallery please rise if you are able? Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for your leadership in such an important industry here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And as the Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger, said, we are so grateful for all the work that you do, and we're very proud of our horse industry here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. My two kids started riding, as I shared a little bit earlier, just last year, and they are in love with it. And so thank you for providing that opportunity to so many young people and people of all ages who love horses and want to see the industry thrive. So you have some wonderful young people who are going to be leaders for many years to come. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friends and leaders from the Virginia Horse Council. The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thank the Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This afternoon, offering our invocation was the Reverend Ellsworth Tate of St. John's Baptist Church in Charles City County, Virginia. St. John's Baptist Church was founded in 1897, built by hand by the members of the church. and Reverend Tate has been the senior pastor there since 2003. Shortly thereafter, the resolve of the congregation was tested when in February of 2004, it was one of several Central Virginia churches completely destroyed by a suspicious fire. But under his leadership and with the support of the Charles City community, St. John's is once again a beacon of hope on Roxbury Road. Reverend Tate is also a president of the Charles City County NAACP, an author and inspirational speaker, currently working on his second book about his time as a member of the band at Virginia State University, and he is also an alum of the Virginia Union Sam Proctor School of Theology. He is married to and joined by Pamela Robinson Tate, the father of 3 children, one of whom is here, Ellsworth, and he is also joined by friends Judith Glover and Byron Atkins, and I ask that you give them a warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would Reverend Ellsworth Tate, Pamela, and your guests please rise in the gallery if you are able? Reverend Tate, thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for that really beautiful and thoughtful prayer. Got us off to the right start here today for our session, and we are deeply grateful to you for your moral leadership, for your work with the NAACP in Charles City County, and for all you do to elevate the level of discourse and discussion here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Pamela, thank you for all that you do in that family to make it work, and we are grateful to the congregants of your wonderful church, to your friends. Please give them our warmest greetings, and I would ask everybody please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our 5 distinguished guests. Senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us in the gallery today is a group of really dedicated and committed individuals. They are committed to the education, growth, development, and protection of our youth. They are going to be joined by the teachers and the parents of the Improvement Association, and I would appreciate it very much if you would extend to them the very warm greetings of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our leaders from the Teachers and Parents Improvement Association please rise in the gallery if you are able? Okay. They may be here. Well, we'll thank them on TV. Thank you all so much for what you do here in the Commonwealth of Virginia to support our teachers and our students. Our young people, of course, are our most important resource, and so we're grateful to you. Echo the words of the Senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas. And I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from the Teacher Parent Improvement Association. Senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of an announcement.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
As we made our way over today from the Pocahontas building, we were greeted with that appetizing aroma of beef sizzling on the grill. Now, the Virginia beef cattle and dairy industry are featured today as proud sponsors of lunches provided to members of the Virginia General Assembly, delegates, and senators. And these are the second and the third largest sectors of Virginia's agriculture, and collectively the Virginia Cattlemen's Association and the Virginia State Dairymen's Association represent industries employing more than 50,000 people in occupations ranging from working the farms that are home to some 1.6 million cattle to the numerous value-added businesses for beef and milk products. Today's lunch features, produced on Virginia farms and processed by Virginia businesses, included beef raised at Glen Mary Farm in Rapidan, Virginia, a Century Farm, and processed at Seven Hills Foods in Lynchburg, Virginia, an APHID grant recipient of the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Milk produced by the Virginia dairy farmers and pasteurized, packaged, and distributed from Marva Maid right here in Richmond, Virginia. Potato chips were provided by Route 11, located in Mount Jackson, Virginia, and made from potatoes grown right here in the Commonwealth on Virginia's Eastern Shore. Together, the Virginia beef and dairy industries provide more than $14 billion to the state's economy through jobs, support of local businesses, exports, and productive land use. Cattle and dairy producers in Virginia are important contributors to a strong economy, to food security, and a healthy environment. And they're appreciative of the service each day that the members of the General Assembly provide to them and the citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I know that, Mr. President, I know that the members here are certainly as appreciative of this great lunch as I was, and I thank them very much.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Will the gentleman yield for a question?
Will Senator yield for a question?
We appreciate the beef, and we certainly appreciate the chips. Where's the ice cream?
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I don't know. I'm afraid it warmed up today outside, and the ice cream may be melted somewhere. I'm not sure.
Thank you, Senator. That speech was very moving. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. He said utter nonsense. That's very good. Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I rise to make a special request.
Senator has the floor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. On behalf of the senator from Grayson and myself, I request unanimous consent of the Senate to introduce a bill to rename Interstate 81 Bridge over White Top Road in Smith County in honor of Trooper Lucas Dow, who's killed in the line of duty on February 4th in Cumberland County.
I thank the senator. Question is, shall the Senate grant unanimous consent to introduce a bill? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The consent of the Senate is granted to introduce a bill. Are there any other senators that wish to be recognized? Is there any other business to come in the morning hour? Seeing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
The ice cream is next week. Thursday, February 14th, 2019. If you turn to page 77.
Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we suspend the rules and waive the second reading of SJR 332.
Wait. The clerk will read the title.
Sorry, Madam Clerk.
Sorry.
Senate Joint Resolution 332, confirming appointments by the governor of certain persons communicated to the General Assembly, January 22nd, 2019.
Now, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Fauquier. Senator
I move that we suspend the rules and waive the second reading.
Thanks, Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading be waived? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. The rules are suspended. The second reading is waived. Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we engross and advance SJR 332 to its third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall SJR 332 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is engrossed and advanced to its third reading. Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that we waive the rules and suspend the third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third reading be waived? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 1.
Ayes 39, noes 1. The rules are suspended and the third reading is waived. Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage of the resolution and speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are moving this forward so we can report it to the other body. This came out of the Privileges and Elections Committee unanimously, and it is the last of the governor's appointments resolutions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the Senate agree to Senate Joint Resolution 332? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. Senate Joint Resolution 332 is agreed to.
On page 6, Unfinished business, House. The House has rejected the Senate amendments to House Bill 2060.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that the Senate insist on its amendments and request a committee of conference.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate insist on its amendments and respectfully request a committee of conference on the bill? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate insists on its amendments and requests a committee of conference.
Unfinished business, Senate. Senate Bill 1173 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I move that we agree to the House substitute.
Thanks, Senator. Do you want to speak to that?
This conforms it to Delegate Torian's bill. They've worked out some additional language to provide the coverage in terms of also mitigating the fiscal impact. And with that, I move we agree to the substitute.
Thanks, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
On page 8, uncontested calendar, House bills on third reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move all the House bills on the third reading on the uncontested calendar, which would include all House bills on pages 8 through 41, including House Bill 1675 through House Bill 2811, be placed on their final passage in the block after the adoption of any amendments. If any senator desires to remove a House bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall House bills on the uncontested calendar third reading, pages 8 through 41, House Bill 1675 through House Bill 2811, be placed upon their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
House Bill 1675, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. House Bill 1742, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendment.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1817, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1954, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2016, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. House Bill 2056, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2239, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. House Bill 2289, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice, and there is a floor substitute.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Mr. President.
Okay. Senator from, sorry, I have a floor sub listed under Senator Surville, but Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move to waive the reading and floor substitute.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor substitute be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor substitute is waived. Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
I yield to the senator from Eastern. I move the floor substitute be agreed to, and speaking to that.
Senator, has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, this is a substitute that makes no substantive changes in this bill and incorporates some technical suggestions and that were made by the Supreme Court of Virginia. The bill deals with how you remove cases to the circuit court as a result of increasing the ad damnum in certain civil cases. And with that, I would say that I'm not aware of any opposition to the floor substitute, and I would renew my motion that it be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the floor substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2300, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with the substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2303, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with the substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2409, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. House Bill 2413, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendments.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee amendments be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2414, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. House Bill 2452, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice. House Bill 2576, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with amendment.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee amendments be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House House Bill 2678, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1611, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from James City County, or Senator from Augusta, Senator
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1629, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1639, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1640, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1659, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with an amendment, and from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move the committee amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
House Bill 1660, reported for the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1663, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1682, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
The senior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
First of all, I want to thank, I mentioned there was no ice cream, and all of a sudden the page brought me ice cream. Whoever did that, I'll also tell you, I don't have a Corvette either. But having said that, Mr. President, I move the substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1740, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1759, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1773, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1774, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1828, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1836, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Move the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1883, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1887, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1915, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1923, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1925, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Could House Bill 1925 come out of the block and go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 1925 will be removed from the block and will go by for the day.
House Bill 1962, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 1966, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Amendments.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are adopted.
House Bill 2003, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2007, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Move the committee amendment.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is adopted.
House Bill 2038, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2058, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2081, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2093, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2109, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I move the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 2133, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2150, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2161, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2198, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2225, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2229, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2230, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Serval.
Can 2230 come out of the block and by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 2230 will be removed from the block and will go by for the day.
House Bill 2234, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2238, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2251, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2279, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2284, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2293, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2298, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2306, reported from the Committee on Finance with amendments.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I move the committee amendments be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2328, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2345, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2352, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2354, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2356, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill
Mr. President,
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
can House Bill 2356 please come out of the block?
Without objection, House Bill 2356 will be removed from the block.
House Bill 2357, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2360, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2385, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2410, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2419, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2440, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2443, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute, and there is a floor amendment.
Senior Senator from Virginia B, Senator Wagner.
First, Mr. President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to. Senior Senator from Virginia B, Senator Wagner.
And then, Mr. President, I move the reading of the floor amendment be waived.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senior Senator from Virginia B, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 2443 comes at the request of the Bureau of Insurance. It sets up and defines the rules and regulations and codes for benefits consortiums. It inadvertently captured the banks participating, and we asked to strike that language. That's what the floor amendment does. And with that explanation, I move the floor amendment pass.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
House Bill 2473.
Mr. President?
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Could House Bill 2443 come out of the block?
Without objection, House Bill 2443 will be removed from the block.
House Bill 2473, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2477, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Could 2477 come out of the block?
Without objection, House Bill 2477 will be removed from the block.
House Bill 2515, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor, and there is a floor amendment.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the floor amendment and speak to it.
Senator, want to waive the reading?
Waive the reading, yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
No, thank you, Senator. Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment just puts on some language. There is currently some consideration of regulations at the federal level that may influence this bill, and so this is just a contingency in case there's any conflict between that and...
Mr. President.
Senator from Bass, Senator Deeds.
Would the Senator from Henrico yield for a question?
Senator
I
Yield?
will, Mr.
Senator
President.
Yield, you have the floor.
Mr. President, I refer to the third word in the amendment. Is the D at the end of that word supposed to be a T?
Senator has the floor.
Not to my knowledge, Mr. President.
Further question?
That to the extent permitted by federal law?
Excuse me, Mr. President, I was looking at the fourth word. Yes, indeed, that should be a T.
Thank you.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.
Question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
House Bill 2538, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2541, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is adopted.
House Bill 2550, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2600, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2632, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2639, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendments.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2655, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2664, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 2672, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2690, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2711, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
House Bill 2719, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2726, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2733, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2738, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Can House Bill 2738 please come out of the block?
Without objection, House Bill 2738 will be removed from the block.
House Bill 2744, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2747, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendments.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2762, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. House Bill 2770, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I move the substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2786, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2792, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2811.
President.
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Can both House Bill 2786 and House Bill 2792 please come out of the block?
Without objection, House Bills 2786 and 2792 will be removed from the block.
House Bill 2811, reported from the Committee on Finance.
Question is, shall the House bills pass? Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Could House Bill 2538 on page 34 come out of the block and go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 2538 will be removed from the block and will go by for the day. Question is, shall the House bills pass in a block? That is, all bills except for 1925, 2230, 2538, 2356, 2443, 2477, 2738, 2786, 2792. All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The bills in the block pass. Senate will stand at ease. Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the rules be suspended and that House Joint Resolution number 979 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Question is, shall the rules be suspended and the House Joint Resolution be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The rules are suspended and the joint resolution be taken up for immediate consideration. Clerk will read the title of the resolution.
House Joint Resolution number 979, election of a Supreme Court of Virginia Justice, a Court of Appeals of Virginia Judge, Circuit Court Judges, General District Court Judges, Juvenile and Domestic Relations District Court Judges, and a member of the Judicial Inquiry and Review Commission.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the reading of the resolution be waived.
Question is, shall the reading of the resolution be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the resolution is waived. Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the resolution be agreed to.
Question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk closed the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The resolution is agreed to. Chair directs the senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain, to inform the House of Delegates of the action of the Senate. Senate will stand at ease.
really seen him until yesterday. He had stopped me in the hall. I mean, he was really obnoxious.
The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. The time for the joint order for certain judicial elections has arrived, and the Senate, on its part, is ready to proceed with the execution of House Joint Resolution number 979. Nominations are now in order for a Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and that Senate Resolution number 120 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the reading of the title be waived, and Senate Resolution number 120 be taken up for immediate consideration? As many as are in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
That the resolution be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? As many as are in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Nominations are now in order for a judge of the Court of Appeals of Virginia. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Move that the rules be suspended, that the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, readings of the title be waived, and the Senate Resolution number 121 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and Senate Resolution number 121 be taken up for immediate consideration? As many as are in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the resolution be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? As many as are in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Nominations are now in order for judges of the respective circuit courts. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and that Senate Resolution number 122 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and Senate Resolution number 122 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the resolution be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Nominations are now in order for judges of the respective general district courts. Chair recognizes the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and that Senate Resolution number 123 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and Senate Resolution number 123 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Chair recognizes Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the resolution be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Nominations are now in order for judges of the respective juvenile and domestic relations district courts. Chair recognizes Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and that Senate Resolution number 124 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and Senate Resolution number 124 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Chair recognizes Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that the resolution be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Nominations are now in order for a member of the Judicial Inquiry and Review Commission. The chair recognizes Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged of further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and that Senate Resolution number 125 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee for Courts of Justice be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and Senate Resolution number 125 be taken up for immediate consideration? As many as are in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Chair recognizes Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, finally, I move the resolution be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? As many as are in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Chair directs the Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain, to inform the House of Delegates of the nominations that have been made by the Senate. Senate will stand at ease. Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats.
Returning to page 30, House Bill 2356.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I move passage of the bill and speak to that.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. House Bill 2356 is identical to a bill previously passed by the Senate. This is the bill that establishes the framework for the grant program which was used to incentivize a major employer to locate in Arlington, Virginia. That major employer is also in the news today in that they have just announced that we are the sole winner, that they have vacated their options and going to New York City. And so I would say that this is probably very good news for us, and this is a good bill to pass at this time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2356? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2356 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 33, noes 5.
Ayes 33, noes 5. House Bill 2356 passes.
On page 32, House Bill 2443.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reviewing the bill, what the bill does is establish a framework and a network at the request of the Bureau of Insurance. These are for the existing, what we refer to as multi-employer welfare affiliations, and these are groups that already exist right now, the bankers being one of them, non-for-profit hospitals being, or not-for-profit colleges being a second one that already have this association healthcare benefit plan. I think they're growing to the size now where they can feel they can be self-insured, if you will, have generated enough and don't need to go to a currently licensed health insurance provider, that they can do it themselves. So this just establishes that framework for these association health plans that have grown to the point now where they can self-fund like major corporations do right now. Currently in the code, there is no provisions to allow for this, and this allows the framework, sets up the requirements, indicates they will pay taxes, indicates that they have to comply with ERISA and a number of other requirements. That's all the bill does, and I move the bill pass.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Arlington? Senator Favola rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to ask my colleagues to vote no on this bill, but for a couple of reasons. You know, the governor does have a task force set up to examine association plans, short-term plans, our standard plans, with some overall policy goals, one of which is to slow the rise in increase of insurance rates, to ensure that more people are covered, and also to enable us to continue to insure those who have pre-existing conditions without having to charge them an exorbitant amount. So these association plans, in many ways, in many respects, actually are very attractive to folks who are fairly healthy. So there's some cherry picking in there. And unfortunately, the association plans are not held to the same rigorous state essential benefits requirements that other standard plans are held to. You know, I mean, issues such as coverage for prescription drugs and some maternity care services are not covered. So although they already exist, and I acknowledge that, and I think this bill probably does have some benefits in terms of how liability issues might be managed or how fiduciary issues might be managed, I would opt to wait until the governor's task force comes out with some broader recommendations that I expect would cover what this bill is trying to do, but also address some of the benefits that I'm talking about and some of the bigger issues about expanding our pool of uninsured, expanding the pool to enable us to cover more uninsured at a reasonable rate. So with that being said, I'd ask the body to vote no. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Henrico? Senator Donovan rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. To speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
just to respond to a few things. The governor's study group did meet, and they did report, and they had nothing to report at the end of the year. It is true that many Virginians are going uninsured because the cost of health care is so extraordinarily expensive. Individuals in the individual marketplace that have no other place to purchase their health insurance can pay $10,000 more a year than they would pay if they were in an association health plan. We cannot penalize and punish young families that are trying to make ends meet for their family by making them pay $10,000 more a year for health insurance because we've created a bad marketplace with the Affordable Care Act. It is time to give these individuals choices that help them meet their family cost needs and budgeting, and I hope you will support this bill.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from James City County? Senator Norman, rise.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I rise in support of the bill, and I encourage you to vote in favor of it. I think that the senior senator from Virginia Beach and the doctor senator from Henrico have adequately explained it.
Do any senators other than Senator Wagner wish to be heard on the bill? What person from Western Fairfax? Senator Marsden, rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the senior senator from Virginia Beach yield the floor
Senator
for a question?
Yield for a question?
I yield.
Senator Yield, you have the floor.
Mr. President, with these high deductibles of sometimes up to $20,000, if people are unable to pay all of that before getting, and they still owe some money to for services, does the question would be, does the insurance kick in even though they still may not have paid all of the deductible at that point in time? They've tried, they've paid part of it, they've done the best they can, but would the insurance then kick in?
Let me just say this,
There's the floor.
Mr. President, if there's a deductible, and that has to do with any policy, what we're doing here, and let's back the boat up just a little bit, this deals only with those associations that already we allow those. That would be the not-for-profit colleges, private public universities around the Commonwealth, and I believe the bankers have the same thing. Okay, this had nothing to do with the premiums or the size of the deductibles or anything else. And if we want to lower the health insurance costs for those groups that are already in there, then you want to vote for this bill. If you want to lower the out-of-pocket costs for the people that are already in these groups, we're not adding any groups here. There are those that speak to farmers. There are those that speak to the Chamber of Commerce. I support those bills too. But this bill has nothing to do with that. This bill has saying that these organizations have grown to the point now where they can self-insure. They don't need to pay the premium to an insurance company that they're currently going to right now. This organization's already there. It's a multi-employer welfare affiliation. We've already authorized it for the bankers. We've already authorized it for the private universities and colleges, for their employees. It is a money savings operation for those institutions. That happened years ago in Assembly. What's happened is the pool of money and the pool of employees, which is what we'd like to have, has grown to the point now where they can save money on behalf of the plan, on behalf of their employers by self-insuring and not having to go there. However, there was never a provision in our code to allow that. And so what this does is allow for these organizations that have grown to that point, which I think is a good thing, to self-insure. In other words, cut the insurance company out of it, because it's cheaper for them to administer that plan, and it saves the associations, it saves those private colleges and universities, it saves the bankers money, and it saves their employees money. That's all this bill does. There are other bills we talk about with the Chamber of Commerce and some of the things I've heard from some of the concerns about that. And we can talk about deductibles and fair inability to pay deductibles in a different legislation, but that's not what this bill does. And so I hope you support this bill.
Thank you, Senator. Question is, shall House Bill 2443 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 29, noes 11.
Ayes 29, noes 11. House Bill 2443 passes.
Returning to judges.
Returning to judges. Pursuant to the joint order, it is now in order that the rolls be called. As many as are in favor of the nominee of the Senate as named by Senate Resolution number 120 to be Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 0.
Ayes 36, noes 0. As many as are in favor of the nominee of the Senate as named by Senate Resolution number 121 to be a judge of the Court of Appeals of Virginia will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 0.
Ayes 37, noes 0. All in favor of the nominees of the Senate as named by Senate Resolution number 122 to be judges of the respective circuit courts will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. All in favor of the nominees of the Senate as named by Senate Resolution number 123 to be judges of the respective general district courts will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. All in favor of the nominees of the Senate as named by Senate Resolution number 124 to be judges of the respective juvenile and domestic relations district courts will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. As many as are in favor of the nominees of the Senate as named by Senate Resolution number 125 to be a member of the Judicial Inquiry and Review Commission will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The chair appoints Senators Sturtevant, Peake, and Peterson, the committee on the part of the Senate, to count and report the vote of each House in each case. Senate will stand at ease. Will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The joint order under House Joint Resolution number 979 will be resumed. The clerk will read the report of the committee to count the vote.
Flip it again.
The committee has reported as follows. Number of votes necessary to elect in the House of Delegates, 50. In the Senate, 21.
Chair recognizes
Mr. President.
Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
If the clerk could please read all of the votes. Or waive the reading of the votes.
Question is, shall the reading of the report be waived? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, nays 5.
Ayes 34, noes 5. The reading of the report is waived. Those named in the report as having received the vote of a majority of the members elected to each House of the General Assembly are declared duly elected. A Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia, a Judge of the Court of Appeals of Virginia, as judges of the respective circuit courts, general district courts, and juvenile and domestic relations district courts, and as a member of the Judicial and Inquiry Review Commission for the terms that have been set forth.
Turning to page.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
A point of order.
Senator's floor.
Can the President or the Madam Clerk confirm, did everybody in the resolutions get all the votes necessary? Every single person? Okay. So nobody, okay, got it. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator.
Mr. President.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, to try to give the gentleman some assurance, I can assure you that there would not be a report that would be rendered to the contrary. So you may rest assured that if the senator from Hanover moves to waive the reading, that they all received more than the requisite number of votes.
Thanks, Senator. Madam Clerk.
On page 33, House Bill 2477.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. What House Bill 2477 does is recognize a situation with this only applies to one current public utility, and that would be Appalachian Power. And what this does is vary a little bit from the 5-year requirement of notification if you use a private licensed electric supplier other than the incumbent utility in the area. The current code requires you to do 5 years of notification prior to coming back into the incumbent utilities, being the incumbent utilities customer if you use another source of generation. This bill applies to Appalachian Power's territory, and what it does is say that if you it would then require somebody who moves out to cover the overhead costs, if you will, not the cost of generation, but the cost of transmission and reasonable operating and maintaining expenses for that, plus the reasonable fee is set by the State Corporation Commission. With that requirement, you would only have to provide 3 years notification prior to returning back to the incumbent utility as a service. And with that explanation, I move the bill pass.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson rise.
Gentleman, yield for a question.
Senator Yield.
I yield.
Senator Yield, you have the floor.
And I'd ask the gentleman, I think his explanation was pretty good, but let me just ask you, you said that the overhead costs, you'll continue to pay them even if you're no longer a customer of Appalachian Power.
That would be true.
Further question?
Further question? Senator Yield.
And you also said that you have to give a 3-year notice in order to opt out. Is that correct?
No. What I said was you have to give a 3-year notice in order to come back.
Further question, Mr. Chair, Mr. President.
I yield.
Senator, the floor.
So in other words, if you leave and then decide to go back into the network, you have to give 3-year notice.
That is right. Currently, if you left and come back, you'd have to give a 5-year notice.
Further question, Mr. President?
I yield.
Senator, has the floor.
I believe under the 5 years, there's still a good faith exception, or excuse me, a good cause exception. If you have no other place where you can obtain power, you can come in on a good cause exception.
I would respond to the gentleman that is the case, that if for some reason that you went to a different supplier and that supplier was to go bankrupt, or that supplier was failed to deliver on his contract, or certain exceptions like that, then they could petition back to the state corporation to get an exemption from the 5-year requirement and come back into the public utilities network as a customer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll speak to the bill at the appropriate time.
That'll be now. Four-person senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell, rise.
Could the bill go by for the day so we could try and sort some stuff out and try and minimize further discussion about it?
I look forward to discussing this again tomorrow. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Without objection, House Bill 2477 will go by for the day.
Page 39, House Bill 2738.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we have seen an exact duplicate of this bill prior to Senate bill. I don't recall the number. This is the bill that allows utilities, not just power companies, but gas companies, those providing internet access, water, sewer, to gain the right-of-way to help develop some mega sites, to have sites ready to go within the Commonwealth of Virginia. We've certainly identified a lot of potential areas, but the need to have assurance that the utilities can be run to those areas, and that's what this bill would provide. Doesn't necessarily call for the running of the utilities, but does allow slight rate recoveries to those utilities where sites have been identified. That site has to be carefully vetted. It has to be signed off by the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and the SEC has to carefully review all the rates, proposed rates to gain access to the right-of-way. But we have lost several economic development opportunities to other states simply because we didn't have the sites ready to go with the assurances that we can run the utilities to those sites. So that's what this bill does. I believe it's supported. I know it's supported by the third floor, and I would hope you would support it also.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2738? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2738 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 3.
Ayes 37, noes 3. House Bill 2738 passes.
On page 40, House Bill 2786.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we've discussed this bill literally for hours on the floor. This is the coal ash bill. Unless anybody has any questions, I move the bill pass.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2786? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2786 pass? All in favor of the motion record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 2.
Ayes 38, noes 2. House Bill 2786 passes.
On page 41, House Bill 2792.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner. Thank you, Mr. President. What House Bill 2792 is allow the Direct State Corporation Commission to establish a pilot program directed towards municipalities that may wish to create small renewable energy projects. And basically, it's an aggregation form. It's limited to 2 megawatts. I believe the city of Alexandria has expressed significant interest in proceeding ahead with this. It just allows the localities to may have big school areas or may have large areas of land that they would be suitable for putting up solar panels, but may not be adjacent or on top of an existing building. So it allows a limited aggregation of electricity to other municipal buildings to help implement renewable energy programs throughout the state and also help reduce the taxpayers' burden for electric charges. That's all the bill does. I move the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2792? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2792 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 1.
Ayes 39, noes 1. House Bill 2792 passes.
Regular calendar House bills on third reading. House Bill 1625, a bill relating to animal care, adequate shelter, adverse weather conditions, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a substitute, and there is a floor substitute.
Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parliamentary inquiry. We did not adopt that substitute at any point yet. I know this is
correct
by several days. Great. Mr. President, first I would move that the committee substitute be adopted with a recommendation that it be rejected.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The noes have it. The committee substitute is rejected. Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. And with the permission and cooperation of the senator from Northern Chesapeake, I'm going to work through this substitute. First, I'd move we waive reading of the floor substitute.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor substitute be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor substitute is waived.
I can read it if they want, Mr. President.
No, it's okay. Proceed.
Move the floor substitute pass, and speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the body, for the past at least couple years, the senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill, has worked very diligently to bring about some reasonable measures to protect animals that are outdoors, and particularly tethered animals. He's had a negotiation with a member of the inferior body down the hall, and they keep going back and forth on it. And what this substitute is a compromise substitute that Senator Spruill's been able to work out. And if you look at it on page 2, lines 32 to 35, it modifies the definition of adequate shelter. Further down on page 2, it gives some requirements under adequate space on lines 47, which has to do with tethering, and that continues on. And that's the substance of this bill. And there have been many versions, and I probably haven't supported many of them, quite frankly, because it gives me a little bit of concern. But the senator from Northern Chesapeake has worked really hard on this. I think it represents a pretty good compromise. And I'm going to support it this time because I'm hoping we won't have to keep having these dog bills. So I would encourage everybody to support the substitute in the bill.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the floor substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor substitute is adopted. Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
And with that explanation, Mr. President, I hope everybody will support the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Question is, shall House Bill 1625 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 6.
Ayes 34, noes 6. House Bill 1625 passes.
House Bill 1634, a bill relating to an additional local sales and use tax in Halifax County, appropriations of Halifax County to incorporated towns for educational purposes. Reported from the Committee on Finance with an amendment.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 1634 will go by for the day.
House Bill 1650, a bill relating to the Virginia Lottery disclosure of identity of winners, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to. Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Mr. President,
For what purpose, Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville rise?
can that bill go by temporarily?
Without objection, House Bill 1650 will go by temporarily.
House Bill 1746, a bill relating to the Virginia Initiative for Employment, Not Welfare, name change. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
It renames the Initiative for Employment, Not Welfare, to the Virginia Initiative for Education and Work. And I wholeheartedly support that.
Thank the senator. For what purpose, Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola rise?
Mr. Chairman, I rise to speak to the bill as well.
The senator has the floor.
I, too, wholeheartedly support the bill. This idea came out of the Commission on Youth, and we wanted to reinforce the importance of education, especially if families are to become self-sufficient. This is a very good idea, so I am also enthusiastic. I hope we pass the measure. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1746? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1746 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. House Bill 1746 passes.
House Bill 2292, a bill relating to electric utilities energy efficiency programs. Reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I move the substitute be agreed to.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to. The senior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. What House Bill 2292 does is require that if the State Corporation Commission finds an energy efficiency program submitted by a public utility not in the public interest, that with that decision they have to turn over the paperwork and make public and available their work product and the analysis of how they came to that determination that it was not in the public interest. It further goes on to state that when there is an energy efficiency program that is put into place, that it will stay in place until all the allotted dollars are used up in the energy efficiency program. And with that explanation, I move the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2292? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2292 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 39, noes 0, Rule 36-1. House Bill 2292 passes.
House Bill 2327, a bill relating to the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation, unlicensed practice, cease and desist notices. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendments.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are adopted. Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass, and this permits the director of DPOR or his designee to issue a notice of any person unlawfully engaged in unlicensed practice of an occupation to cease and desist such activity.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2327? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2327 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. House Bill 2327 passes.
House Bill 2339, a bill relating to the Department of Taxation sharing information with the Department of Social Services. Reported from the Committee on Finance, and there are 4 floor amendments.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first ask permission to remove the floor amendments. You got one too?
All right.
Let's remove his too. No, Mr. President.
Withdraw. So, without objection, the floor amendments are withdrawn.
Okay. And with that, Mr. President, and just an explanation, the senator from Hanover had raised some concerns about this particular bill, and we were trying to address those concerns, but they were not done very precisely with these amendments. So I'm going to ask that the bill go by for the day so we can draw a more accurate amendment to reach his concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Without objection, House Bill 2339 will go by for the day.
House Bill 2547, a bill relating to electric utilities, net energy metering by electric cooperatives, community solar development, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment, and there's a floor amendment.
The senior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I was going to say I'm not familiar with the floor amendment.
Okay. Senior senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
There is a committee amendment. Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment, reading of the floor amendment be waived. We need to do the committee first.
We need to move the committee amendment first.
Move that the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to. The senior senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
Mr. President, I move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senior senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
Mr. President, I move that we agree to the floor amendment and speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, this is a net metering bill that came out of the Rubin Group for the co-op territories. It also convenes a stakeholder group to address net metering technology and advancements in that area. And what this amendment does is it includes in the stakeholder group, requires that energy efficiency advocates also be included in that stakeholder group. And with that, I move that the floor amendment pass.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted. Senior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, the senator from Richmond City, I think, explained it very well, and I move the bill pass.
Thank you, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2547? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2547 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 4.
Ayes 36, noes 4. House Bill 2547 passes.
House Bill 2647, a bill relating to the Condominium Act, meetings of unit owners associations, proxy voting, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to that motion,
Senator has the floor.
This provides that any proxy shall be void if not signed by or on behalf of the unit owner. The bill also provides that if the unit owner is more than one person, any such unit owner may object to the proxy at or prior to the meeting. Renew my motion.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2647? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2647 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 1.
Ayes 39, noes 1. House Bill 2647 passes.
House Bill 2694, a bill relating to Property Owners Association Act, association meetings, noticed by email, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to this,
Senator has the floor.
Motion. This allows members of property owners associations to elect to receive notice of meetings of the association by email in lieu of the current requirement that such notice be sent by the mail or hand delivered, provided that in the event that such electronic mail is returned as undeliverable, notice is subsequently sent by the U.S. mail. I renew my motion.
Thank the senator. For what purpose is Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville, rise?
Speaking to the bill, very briefly.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I didn't like this bill in committee and still don't like it is, you read the bill and you say, oh, well, you get everything by email now. Why don't we do notice of meetings by email at HOAs? The reason is, when you're getting notices about these HOAs, it relates to your property rights, it relates to your assessments, it relates to what color you can paint your house. Very significant property rights are affected by the meetings they have and the notices you get, money you pay every month, and email doesn't always work. I can't tell you how many times in the last 2 months I have sent emails that either somebody said they never got, they got caught in a spam filter, and the person on the other side didn't get a return notice saying the email was undelivered. And I just don't think when you're making decisions, when a group is making decisions that can affect your property rights that are this significant, they ought to be able to let you know electronically that they're going to have a meeting about it or they're making some decision. I think it ought to be by first-class mail. It's too important of an issue for it to be done by email. And that's why I didn't support it. I still don't support it. I think it's very dangerous, and I think we're going to be back here in a year or 2 or 3 where somebody said, they passed a budget or they voted on something about my house, and I never found out because I didn't get the email. We're going to be back rewinding this. So that's why I think we shouldn't support it.
Thank you, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2694? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2694 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 30, noes 10.
Ayes 30, noes 10. House Bill 2694 passes.
House Bill 2768, a bill relating to clerks of court, disclosure of tax information, reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill pass, and speaking to that.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This particular bill is on the regular calendar because one of our members of the committee had a conflict of interest. But what it would do is allow disclosure of confidential tax information contained in an estate's probate tax return filed with the clerk of the court. It allow disclosure of that information when it's requested by the Commissioner of Accounts making settlement of accounts filed in such estate. Move passage.
Thank you, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2768? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2768 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1. House Bill 2768 passes.
Uncontested calendar House bills on second reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now move all the House bills on both the uncontested and regular calendar, which would include all House bills on pages 45 through page 75, including House Bill 1614 through House Bill 2764, that the rules of the Senate be suspended and that the second constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 45 through 75, House Bill 1614 through House Bill 2764, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I now move that all the House bills which find themselves on the third reading be passed by for the day.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on third reading be passed by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Page 76, uncontested calendar, House Joint Resolution on second reading. House Joint Resolution 676, proposing an amendment to Section 6 of Article 10 of the Constitution of Virginia relating to personal property tax exemption motor vehicle owned by a disabled veteran. Regular calendar. House Joint Resolutions on second reading. House Joint Resolution 591, proposing an amendment to Section 6 of Article 2 of the Constitution of Virginia relating to appointment technical adjustments permitted. House Joint Resolution 615, proposing an amendment to Section 6 of Article 2 of the Constitution of Virginia and proposing amendments to the Constitution of Virginia by adding in Article 2 sections numbered 6-A, 6-B, relating to apportionment, state, and local independent redistricting commissions. Memorial resolutions.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now move all the memorial resolutions on pages 77 through 81 of the calendar, including House Joint Resolution 781 through Senate Resolution 115, be placed on their final passage in the block, waiving the reading of the resolution to be passed in the usual manner. Any senator who may desire to remove a memorial resolution from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the title of that resolution.
Senator, the question is, shall the memorial resolutions on pages 77 through 81, House Joint Resolution 781 through Senate Resolution 115, be considered in the block in the usual manner, waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the title of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. The clerk will read the titles of the memorial resolutions.
House Joint Resolution 781, celebrating the life of Thelma Virginia Dodson. House Joint Resolution 795, celebrating the life of Leslie Bain Lord. House Joint Resolution 796, celebrating the life of John H. Chenard. House Joint Resolution 797, celebrating the life of Mary Barbara Kirk Hogue. House Joint Resolution 798, celebrating the life of Earl V. Carl. House Joint Resolution 799, celebrating the life of Thomas Francis Byrne. House Joint Resolution 800, celebrating the life of Robert Joseph Coniglio. House Joint Resolution 801, celebrating the life of Cleonia B. Ramsey Agnes Olson. House Joint Resolution 802, celebrating the life of Edna Bounds. House Joint Resolution 811, celebrating the life of Edwin Burwell Jones Whitmore III. House Joint Resolution 812, celebrating the life of Barbara Beatrice Abernathy Ross. House Joint Resolution 819, celebrating the life of the Honorable Ernest Pleasance Gates. House Joint Resolution 830, celebrating the life of Sylvia Overton McLaughlin. House Joint Resolution 834, celebrating the life of Scott Marvin Anderson. House Joint Resolution 839, celebrating the life of Cressia and Sarah Henderson Burns. House Joint Resolution 840, celebrating the life of Walter T. Kinney, Sr. Senate Joint Resolution 359, celebrating the life of Scott Marvin Anderson. Senate Joint Resolution 364, celebrating the life of David C. Creasy, Sr. Senate Joint Resolution 368, celebrating the life of Donald Robert McHague. Senate Joint Resolution 369, celebrating the life of Captain Andrew Patrick Ross, United States Army. Senate Joint Resolution 370, celebrating the life of Sue Kimball Dudley. Senate Joint Resolution 371, celebrating the life of James William Bryan, Jr. Senate Joint Resolution 372, celebrating the life of Carl David Brinkley. Senate Joint Resolution 372, celebrating the life of William E. Edwards. Senate Joint Resolution 376, celebrating the life of Edmund John Kelly. Senate Joint Resolution 377, celebrating the life of Garner Allen Barker. Senate Joint Resolution 378, celebrating the life of Joseph Frederick Honeycutt. Senate Joint Resolution 380, celebrating the life of Walter T. Kenny, Sr. Senate Joint Resolution 384, celebrating the life of Joseph C. Whitaker. Senate Joint Resolution 385, celebrating the life of Tyler McClellan Spruill. Senate Joint Resolution 387, celebrating the life of Jennifer Maribel Stivers. Senate Joint Resolution 388, celebrating the life of Trooper Lucas B. Dow. Senate Resolution 108, celebrating the life of Michael Timothy Tilley. Senate Resolution 113, celebrating the life of John Marshall Rasnick, Jr. Senate Resolution 114, celebrating the life of Charlotte May Satterwhite Troxell. Senate Resolution 115, celebrating the life of Richard Lee Towle, Sr.
The resolutions will be agreed to in the usual manner. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolutions will please rise. The resolutions are agreed to.
Commending resolutions.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I would now move all the commending resolutions on pages 81 through 85, which would include House Joint Resolution 742 through Senate Resolution 116, be agreed to in the block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolution. Any senator who may desire to remove a commending resolution from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that resolution.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the commending resolutions on pages 81 through 85, House Joint Resolution 742 through Senate Resolution 116 be considered in the block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolutions with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. Clerk will read the numbers of the resolutions.
House Joint Resolutions 742, 749, 762, 785, 786, 791, 808, 813, 820, 821, 829, 836, 837, 838, 851, 855, 857, 916, Senate Joint Resolutions 356, 357, 360, 361, 362, 363, 367, 375, 379, 381, 382, 383, 386, 389, 390, 391, 392, Senate Resolutions 107, 110, 111, 116.
Question is, shall the resolutions be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolutions will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolutions are agreed to. James City County, Senator Norman.
By inquiry of the clerk, Mr. President, does that complete today's calendar?
We went by one bill. On page 42, we went by temporarily House Bill 1650.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Mr. President, could that go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 1650 will go by for the day.
That now completes the calendar.
Is there any other business to come
Mr.
before
President?
the Senate? Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Can we return to the morning hour for a point of personal privilege and a motion?
Without objection, Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, our offices are decorated in pink and red today, celebrating Valentine's Day. If you walked by my office, though, you may have noticed something different. Room 520 in the Pocahontas building is not decorated for Valentine's Day. It's decorated to commemorate 17 students and teachers for whom it will never be Valentine's Day again. Never for ROTC student Peter Wang, who was planning on going to West Point. Peter died holding a door open for his friends to escape. Never for freshman Alyssa Ledef, who was only 14 and already training to play college soccer. Never for Coach Aaron Feiss, who will never again bring flowers home to his wife for Valentine's Day or read to his daughter again. Let me remind you what happened a year ago today. A disturbed student with a history of making violent threats walked into Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School carrying a military-style assault rifle. In 6 minutes, he killed 17 people. His AR-15 wasn't purchased for personal protection, for hunting, or for target practice. It was designed and outfitted to wreak the greatest havoc imaginable. The AR-15's rounds enter and exit a human body in less time than it takes to blink. This weapon can repeat this action 50 times in less than a minute. It's been used in dozens of the most infamous massacres in the last 10 years, including Sandy Hook, Tree of Life, and Pulse. This isn't just about those shootings or the AR-15. It's about what's happening in America and what we are not doing to stop it. Last year, our former colleague, Senator, now Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton, stood on this floor and she admonished us that the people who sent us here wanted us to do something. And 1,297 children still die from gun-related injuries every year in the United States. This year, we had a chance to pass Senator Howell's bill, which would have made it a crime to leave a loaded firearm where a kid could easily grab it. We did nothing. We failed those kids. Since 2013, students have suffered the terror and trauma of over 300 shootings at schools and universities in the United States. This year, we had a chance to pass Senator Barker's bill to enable our police to confiscate weapons from those who exhibited red flags, just like the shooter at Parkland did. We did nothing. We failed those kids. Since Columbine, 26,000 children and teenagers have been killed by guns in our country. This year, we had a chance to pass my bill, which would have banned the very gun used in Parkland. We did nothing. We failed those kids. It's long past time to take action. It shouldn't take another mass shooting to spur us into action. These tragedies are happening far too often. Members of the Senate, I ask you, how many more children will be dead at the hand of a gun before Valentine's Day next year? And Mr. President, I ask that when we adjourn today, that we adjourn in memory and honor of Alyssa Ledef, age 14, Scott Beagle, 35, Martin Duquette, 14, Nicholas Dwaret, 17, Aaron Feiss, 37, Jamie Gutenberg, 14, Chris Hickson, 49, Luke Hoyer, 15, Carl Loughran, 14, Gina Montalto, 14, Joaquin Oliver, 17, Elena Petty, 14, Meadow Pollock, 18, Helena Ramsey, 17, Alex Schachter, 14, Carmen Schentrup, 16, and Peter Wang, age 15. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, am going to speak about the anniversary of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School tragedy that happened a year ago today. The Journal of Pediatrics reported just last June that gunfire each week in our country kills on average 25 children under the age of 17. A 2016 study in the American Journal of Medicine calculated that among 24 of the world's wealthiest nations, this country alone accounted for 91% of firearm deaths among children 14 years of age or younger. I submit to the body that this tragedy is real. It could happen to one of our children. It does happen to our friends, our neighbors, and I believe every child is a child of ours. There's a note that a mother who lost her daughter was Alyssa, and this note that the mother wrote, I think it was in time of mourning, really puts this in perspective. She said, "Dear Alyssa, it's Valentine's Day, a day full of love, chocolates, and flowers. But for me, it's more than that. Last Valentine's Day was the last time I saw you. You wore a black and white dress. Your long hair dangled. Your makeup looked just right. And of course, you wore your famous sneakers. You really didn't want to go to school that day. But now Valentine's Day is about memories. Today, like all days, I remember. I remember you weren't looking forward to going to school. Like many 14-year-old girls, you wanted a Valentine. And you were disappointed that you didn't receive one. High school love is magic. I was 14 once, and those butterflies had whirled inside of me, too. I wanted that for you. I remember the golden gift bag you gave me that morning. It held a pair of diamond earrings to make you feel pretty and a chocolate bar to make you smile, and hair ties so you wouldn't ask for mine. I touched your ears, putting the stems of those earrings through your lobes. You said you were ready to go to school. You opened the car door and said, I love you. I said, I love you too. It was the last time I saw you alive. A year has been a long time without you. So much has happened, and I want to tell you, I watched your brothers miss you terribly. They want you to know they miss fighting with you. They say, thank you for convincing Dad to get unlimited Wi-Fi. Dad fights for you every day. He's your voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to join this dad. We have to step up. We have to accept our responsibility. We're not going to stop every gun violence in the country. We know that. We're not going to stop every tragic accident. But we have to do better than what we're doing. We have to be able to say to our children, you're going to be safe when you go to school, when you go to a movie theater, when you go out to the drugstore. We have to reach a point where there's some balance in our society, where there's a respect for the rights of responsible gun ownership, and it's also balanced with the need for public safety. This is our country. These are our children. This is our future. It is time for us to act responsibly. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose is Senator from Loudoun, Senator Black rise?
I rise on a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying that when the Constitution of the United States was approved by the original states, it included 10 amendments, and one of those amendments was the Second Amendment, which gave to the citizens the right to keep and bear arms. You know, we look at some of these dramatic things, very tragic things, but let me give you a couple of examples. When I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, unconnected with anything in the military, there was a serial rapist who was in Killeen, Texas, which adjoins Fort Hood. And his MO was to prey on older women, and he would wait, and he would stalk, and he would break into the homes, and he would rape them. And he literally terrorized the whole community. And then one night, he found a woman. She was alone. He peeked in the window. There she was. And he began breaking in. She had a screened-in front porch. And he began cutting through the screen. The woman heard him. All that she had was a .22 caliber rifle. But she looked through her window, her screen window, and she saw him cutting through and reaching his hand in to open the door of her screen porch And she aimed and she fired the little 22 caliber rifle, and she struck the man in the hip, in the groin area. She then ran and she called the police. Of course, it takes the police a little while to get there. They came and they found a blood trail, and they traced it and they followed it for about 3 blocks. They found the serial rapist dead. This woman, living alone, a widow, an elderly woman, had stopped that man and had saved her life. And that was the end of the terrorism within Killeen, Texas. There was another event in Killeen, Texas, same town. I wasn't there at this time, but there was a rule in Texas that you could not carry a concealed firearm into a restaurant. So there was a woman who had a concealed firearm, and she pulled up to meet with her parents, go into the restaurant. And being a law-abiding citizen, as most concealed carry holders are, she left her weapon in the truck. She went in, and then there was an individual who came in, and he proceeded to execute everybody that he could in that restaurant. It was a very famous incident at the time. It's been decades now. But he slaughtered a huge number of people. They obeyed the law. Those people in the restaurant had obeyed the law and had not carried their firearms inside the restaurant. That woman, the girl who had the weapon in her truck, watched as her parents were executed in that restaurant. And later she said, if only she had had her concealed firearm with her at the time. But she was prevented. Ladies and gentlemen, about a week ago I read an article, it might have been 2 weeks ago, and it was about a woman who was jogging in Washington, D.C., and she had been going, and finally she was starting to cool down a little bit, and there was a man who was following her. And she walked to the other side of the street, and he followed her, and he began to pursue her. And very soon, he caught up with her. And I tell you, I've been through these things so many times. I have seen so many women raped by people, and I have prosecuted and overseen the prosecution of so many rapes, and it just kind of made me sick as I read through the article because I knew the way it was going to end. But it didn't. I was wrong. And I was greatly relieved because the man grabbed her, he pinned her to the ground, and instead of him carrying out the rape, she fought back. She was very physically fit, very strong. And she managed to scratch his eyes. She scratched his glasses off of his face, and the man went fleeing. And I was just so relieved to see that she had escaped. Earlier in the day, he had attacked another woman, and she had not escaped. And I thought, you know what? If that young lady had been able to have a firearm, it wouldn't have to be a big one. Because when a woman is defending herself against someone who is intent on doing her a physical assault against her, he's going to be close, and she's not going to miss. And it doesn't have to be a real sophisticated firearm, but it's got to be something. I've seen so many of these things. I built homes in Liberty City in Miami. It's a very, very tough neighborhood. And it was a government-subsidized program, and we built the homes. And I recall so vividly, there was a delightful woman African-American woman with 2 children, and I was walking her to her home so that she could make the inspection and I could turn the keys over to her. And I can recall the precise place I was standing on a sidewalk when it struck me, and I thought, I hope this woman has a gun. I really hope she does. She was a single woman, and she was in a rough neighborhood. I have no idea. My prayers are with her. I hope everything went well. Frankly, I hope she had a gun. But I'm going to tell you, there's a reason for the Second Amendment, and one of the principal purposes is so that people are not defenseless if they choose not to be defenseless. And you look at Virginia and you compare it to Chicago, you compare it to Detroit, you compare it to D.C. We have fairly reasonable firearms rules, and we have a low rate of crime and a low rate of violence, and people don't have to live in fear. If you are a helpless person, if you are a defenseless person, and you hear somebody coming through your window, what do you do? Oh, maybe if you're a big, tough guy, maybe if you're our senator over here, that's one thing. But what if you're an elderly person? What if you are a lone widow? What do you do except sit there and wait for the inevitable? So, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased that the founders of this nation gave us the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms, and I think people in this country are going to defend that with their last breath. Thank you very much.
Purpose of the senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico, rise. No.
I think my seatmate tore my mic up. Point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, just real briefly, while I agree with my colleagues on the other side that the events of last year is disturbing, and especially the young man that committed these crimes, and that we should be concerned about what happened there, not so much about the weapon, but about the mindset of which that young man had when he went into that school and he took the lives of all these young people. And I believe that we have made great strides in this Commonwealth through discussions in mental health and making mental health accessible to individuals in order to try to prevent some of these things that's happened. I don't so much believe that it was the weapon, because it always has to have someone behind it for it to create such mass carnage. But I'm glad that my friends on the other side of the aisle want to have a conversation about it, because the conversation should be about our children and the most vulnerable. So we should be having that conversation, because since 1973, when Roe v. Wade was introduced, 60,942,033 children have been part of that mass carnage. Thank you.
What purpose is Senator from Hampton? Senator Locke, rise.
Mr. President, I rise on a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, this is not about Roe versus Wade or abortion. It has been 1 year since the tragic shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where 17 innocent lives were lost. 1 year later, this Senate has not passed a single gun violence prevention measure. During that same period, Virginia has lost over 1,000 people, many of whom are children under the age of 18, to senseless gun violence. Today, I share with you the names of 34 children who've lost their lives to gun violence in the last 365 days. Matthew Ortega, DeMarcus Antoine Hooper Jr., Latifa Anae Hutnall, Elijah DeMonte McLean, Noah W. Gallegos, Jaleel Shaheed Yates, James Galligian IV, Stephen Wayne Glenn Jr., Jamari Therese Sanders, Demetrius Jefferson, Tyson Beckett Aponte, Giovanni Lagurgo, Miranda Beth Trump, Dejani Monet Leary, Brooklyn Youngblood, Tahami Ayaz, Damanta L. Faircloth, Israel Gomez, Liana Samlaw, Avery Pope Moore, Monty Devon Hughes, Sharon Castro, Mirage Ayaz, Kashan Lamont Dickerson, Deshaun Angel Burgos, Yashawn D. Robinson, Christopher Patrick Ross, Vanessa Zaman, Kaman Battle, James Boyd Moorhead Jr., Nicholas Christian Bernard, Ramon Cassadine Davis, Orlando Myron Anderson Jr. As we remember the students and staff lost at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and the Virginia children whose lives were cut short by senseless gun violence, I challenge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to recommit to passing common sense gun violence prevention measures that will save lives. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Southern Fairfax? Senator Barker, rise.
Mr. President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, today on Valentine's Day, we do commemorate the one-year anniversary of the tragic school shooting at Parkland, Florida, that took the lives of 17 students and staff. We also, as the Senator from Hampton mentioned, however, should remember that over the last year, or in the last year in 2018, 1,028 Virginians lost their lives to gun violence. In the 12 years since the shooting at Virginia Tech certainly captured attention in the Commonwealth of Virginia and that took over 30 lives, we've lost thousands of Virginians to gun violence. And in the last decade plus, we have seen the homicide rate in Virginia rise by 28%. We should not allow this to continue without taking action. We need to work together to address this while protecting the rights of all Virginians. I've had legislation over the last several years to address issues confronting many of the situations that have resulted in mass shootings where someone was known to be immediate risk to gun violence, likely or certainly a significant risk to use a gun to kill or maim himself, herself, or others. The legislation would provide a mechanism to temporarily, only temporarily, remove a gun from someone who had that immediate risk. It's been labeled extreme risk protection law, risk warrant, red flag legislation. The critical factor is that it would be a temporary measure that would be able to remove someone's gun when they were, because of their situation and what their intents were, when they were a significant risk to kill others or themselves. And during General Assembly sessions every year, we are visited by many members of the Citizens Defense League, the NRA, and other groups. And frequently when they come to my office, because I've had this legislation in, we end up in discussions on it. What has impressed me is that the almost without exception, those members understand the value of removing a gun from someone who has a significant risk to use that in harmful ways. What we have to do is figure out how we provide the due process to make sure that we can reach consensus or broad acceptance on this. Since Parkland, one of the major actions that have been taken in states across the country has been this type of legislation. It's partly been because it doesn't remove any particular gun. It doesn't take anyone's gun away permanently. It only addresses a short-term situation and provides restoration of that person's gun rights after the situation has passed. It's also become something that has been acted on by many states in the past year, partly because of the activity of the students at Parkland High School, but also because of political leadership that has helped move it forward in many states that have had Republican governors or Republican legislatures to get it passed. One of the key proponents of this has been Vice President Pence. He did this because of what happened in Indiana, and that led Indiana to becoming one of the first states to have this legislation. In Indiana, what you had was an individual who had stated boldly that he would kill police officers in the city of Indianapolis. The police went to the authorities and tried to figure out what they could do to address this situation, how they could take that gun away from him, and were told that there was nothing on the books that would allow anyone to take that gun away until he had used it in a harmful or deadly manner. Unfortunately, he delivered through on his promise and killed a police officer in Indiana. We also have had a commission that was established by President Trump that came up with recommendations. One of the specific recommendations was to have this type of legislation adopted across the country. In the last year, many states, including, as I said, many who had either Republican governors or Republican legislatures or both, have passed such legislation. And the number of states with these types of laws has gone from, I believe it was 4 a year ago, to 13 now. And I had hoped that this year we might make it 14. In previous years, my legislation often has been considered by the Courts of Justice Committee, but in the end, along with many other measures, has been defeated with little, if any, discussion. This year, however, it was different. There was substantive discussion on the legislation, and I think that the chairman, Senator Obenshain, the senator from Rockingham, as well as the senator from King George, who filled in for part-time that day, and made sure that there was a fair discussion and substantive discussion on this. And there were amendments made to the legislation that I had proposed that, in many respects, I think improved the legislation and help it move towards a sense of compromise that would be able to get it adopted. The legislation did not advance this year, but it was not defeated in aggregate. It died on a tie vote. So I think that we are making progress on this. I challenge us to work together this year so that in 2020 we can pass legislation on a bipartisan basis to address this issue and to make Virginia one of the states that provides this protection that in many states that have enacted it, they have determined through assessments of things that has actually prevented significant numbers of gun deaths or gun attacks on people. On this tragic anniversary, let us never again say it is too soon for political action in the wake of tragedy. Our action is long overdue. Let's figure out how we get to yes in 2020. Thank you.
And Senator, for what purpose does the senior senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove, rise?
For a motion, Mr. President.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier, I made the motion at the beginning of the session to adjourn in the honor and memory of our colleague, Fred Quayle. I'm going to withdraw that motion and offer it another day when there's not an orchestrated set of personal privilege points. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Journal will so note. For what purpose does the senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain, rise?
Mr. President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I certainly had no intention of rising to speak and certainly have no prepared remarks. But I want to tell you that I suspect every member of this chamber, weep for the children who died at Marjorie Stoneman School in Florida. I regret that some believe that the solution to tragedies like that are so simple. The fact of the matter is they are far but simple. If we could just say nobody should commit a mass killing and make it so, we'd do it.
The fact of the matter is that in Florida and across the country, we try an awful lot of things, well-intentioned things, to prevent tragedies like this. And I'm not suggesting that the efforts of those who suggest that banning guns is not well-intentioned. I'm confident that it is. But I respectfully submit that it's naive to suggest that that would have prevented these horrible murders. Let me tell you, there's a guy named Andrew Pollock, who is the father of one of the children murdered at Marjorie Stoneman. And Andrew Pollock is traveling the country telling people Meadows' story and about how complicated this issue really is. It's not about guns. It's not about just finding a panacea, some simple way to prevent this from ever happening again. Because if there was a simple way, we'd have done it. You know, in Florida, they adopted this program called it's called PROMISE. It's called Preventing Recidivism Through Opportunity, Mentoring, Intervention, Support, and Education. And I'm confident that it was a well-intentioned program. It is a program that flowed from a 2014 federal initiative that sought to divert students who commit crimes from having a police record. And, you know, in a lot of circumstances, I'd say that's laudable. But what happened in Florida is nothing short of shocking and astonishing. What happened was that the murderer, and Andrew Pollock can't even bring himself to say his name, but the murderer was somebody who had a long, long record. And school officials and law enforcement officials had so many opportunities to prevent these murders from happening that he considers it criminal to have not done so. It goes back to middle school, where administrators sought not to report him to police, but they found him so dangerous that he was required to have adult supervision with him all the time. All the time. In high school, he vandalized a bathroom, causing $1,000 worth of damage. He racially abused black students and had fistfights with them on a regular basis. He carved swastikas on his desk. He threw furniture across classrooms. He threw hard objects at students, brought dead animals to school and waved them before other students. He threatened to kill teachers and other students and threatened to shoot up the school. He wrote "kill" on his notebooks and wrote frequently about guns. He brought knives to school, and on one occasion he brought a backpack full of bullets, and after that the school banned him from wearing backpacks. Got that? Banned him from wearing backpacks. You know, Mr. Pollock says if he was too dangerous to wear a backpack, why was he not too dangerous to be in school with kids like Meadow? You know, then his mother, the murderer, his mother, she died 3 months before he committed this horrendous crime. The murderer once was subject of a call to the police because he hit his mother in the mouth so hard that he knocked out all of her teeth. There were 45 calls for police help at his home, yet he was never charged. One counselor even suggested to his mother that if he engaged in good conduct and was cooperative, that she'd give him a pellet gun as a reward, for his good behavior. What did this reap? It reaped death and destruction, heartbreak, and tragedy. And I really wish that it was as simple as saying, let's take a weapon out of his hand. Let's not let him have a backpack because maybe he won't bring a knife to school or he won't bring a gun to school. It is not that simple. The well-intentioned policies that have been adopted have, in many instances, had the opposite effect than that intended. And I agree that we need to prevent the next Marjory Stoneman massacre. But I seriously doubt that there is one single member in this chamber who has a corner on the market for how to do it, or that there's one bill that's been introduced that is a panacea that is going to stop the next Marjory Stoneman. I pray that there is no child who ever dies again in an attack of this nature. And I pray that the members of this legislative body will continue to do everything that they can to work cooperatively together to develop a comprehensive approach that will develop policies, not political themes and slogans. And I get that maybe some believe that these are wedge issues that are going to benefit us in coming elections. But I think we do a pretty good job in this chamber of trying to work together to find solutions. And there are going to be cats and dogs issues that we're going to fight over. But politicizing the deaths of 17 children who were slaughtered because of a variety of problems, misguided policies, mistakes, errors, omissions, failures, it's just wrong.
For what purpose does the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, rise?
It's been interesting listening to all this. I was interested in what the senator from Rockingham had to say, that there were a whole lot of issues involved, but none of them were the gun itself, apparently. Everything else was the problem. You can go to Wikipedia and you can look up the Western democracies and gun homicide rates. It's no accident that the nearest one to us is 1/10 of what we are. That's Germany. There's this point, and this was as of about 3 years ago, and it's been pretty much the same over a decade. But the last year I saw numbers for was a couple of years ago. They were 0.36 gun homicides per 100,000 people. Great Britain was under 0.10. The U.S. was 3.6, 10 times the rate. Nobody's saying we need to ban guns. On the other hand, though, the sole qualification for getting a gun shouldn't be that you can fog up a mirror, okay? And which is about pretty much what it is here and in a lot of other states. Back, I think it was in 2013, and I try to look at these numbers every year or two, Hawaii became the first state, I think, since they've been keeping statistics, didn't have a single gun homicide. Not a one. Now, there's some reasons for that. Number one, you can't load your car trunk up with guns and drive them to Hawaii. Well, you can, but you would need an amphibious vehicle. Wouldn't be very practical. You can only hunt on the Big Island in Hawaii. And on the other islands, and probably on that, you can't believe what you got to go through to buy a gun or get a gun. And they've got, I think, close to 2 million people. So they have more people than probably about a dozen states that we have here. When you don't have a lot of guns, guess what? You don't have a lot of gun homicides. I mean, there's one common ingredient, and I'm not saying we need to collect everybody's gun, but there's one common ingredient that exists in all the things we've been talking about today. It's the gun. And like a lot of you in here, I've been in the service and fired every one of these weapons. There's a lot of these weapons that don't belong in the hands of the civilian population. And the adage that a good guy with a gun is going to stop the bad guy, when that congresswoman from Arizona was shot, apparently there were two people there that apparently told the police they had guns, but they were afraid to use them for fear of hitting innocent people. And the one thing that Senator Obenshain said that was right, there are no easy solutions, no question about it. But the one common ingredient in every single one of these tragedies, those kids in Florida, they didn't die from a heart attack, okay? And, I've heard people say, well, they'll bring a knife. Try mass murdering 17 people with a knife. Ain't going to happen. And, it's not we had, Florida soon after that passed a series of laws. One of them was they raised the legal age to own or possess a gun to 21. That bill didn't pass here. And when I proposed it, somebody told me at one of the associations that we're taking guns away from law-abiding people. Well, we also took alcohol away from law-abiding people because all the people between 18 and 21 weren't getting drunk, getting in cars, and killing people. And yet, we raised the drinking age to 21. In fact, I was a sponsor of that. And 99% of the people didn't get drunk and cause trouble, but they spoiled it for everyone else. The other thing is, I never heard of anybody going into a high school, as I said before, and killing 19 people with a beer bottle. This is not a problem, and no one over here advocated taking everybody's guns or collecting all the guns. But the problem, as I see it, is easy access. And when all the Western democracies, none of them have a gun homicide rate 1/10 of what ours is, it ought to tell us something. You can own guns in every single one of those countries, but they just don't hand them out to anybody that says, I want a gun. And that's the difference. And sooner or later, the American public is going to demand something be done. And are you going to stop, people who have mental problems? No, but you'll certainly make it harder for them to do it. And there's things that we can do that would make it more difficult for them. So in years to come, these bills aren't going to go away. And we can't sit here every year and just keep crying, Second Amendment, Second Amendment. A few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, the Washington Post did a story after it came out that you could go online and buy a flamethrower. And a fellow called me up and asked me if I was, he knew what my record was, if I was going to put in a bill to ban flamethrowers. And, what I was really tempted, I told him one part of it, that, if you outlaw flamethrowers, only the outlaws will have flamethrowers. And what I was tempted to tell him, but I didn't, was that everybody knows that flamethrowers don't burn people, people burn people. That's the absurdity of that argument when it's applied to guns. That's the absurdity of that. So this problem won't go away and we're going to sooner or later have to deal with it. And like I said, it doesn't involve confiscation of everybody's gun. But we've got a problem in this country, and we need to come to grips with it. And, you know, we can't do it by every time somebody proposes something saying, Second Amendment, Second Amendment. The Second Amendment's not absolute. And the U.S. Supreme Court has said that. So, you know, we can sit here and talk about this, and but like I said, it won't go away. And sooner or later, we're going to have to get something done because the people are going to demand it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. What purpose, senator from James City County, Senator Norman Rise?
Point of personal privilege, Mr. President. And I say I know better.
The senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I think that all 40 members of this body absolutely mourn what took place in Florida and some of these other mass shootings that we are talking about. And there certainly is an appropriate time and atmosphere to recognize that. But there are also opportunities to cross that line and start proselytizing it in a public forum as a political wedge issue. And I would say, Mr. President, I am very respectful. This issue is not going away. In fact, it hasn't gone away. Every year that I have been in the General Assembly of Virginia, Second Amendment issues have come before this body in the House of Delegates. They have been debated with passion. They have been debated earnestly. And a majority of the elected legislators in the Commonwealth of Virginia have chosen not to embrace some of the positions that are being advocated here today. So it's not a question that it has gone away, and it is not going away. And we will continue to have that debate in the future. And I say right after I got married this summer, my plans got changed a little bit and ended up in Greensboro, North Carolina. And while I was there, decided to go to the Civil Rights Museum on Woolworths. And can you imagine when we got out of the car and started walking to the front of the museum that there were TV cameras everywhere? And I thought they must have heard that I was coming. You cannot imagine my surprise when the bus from the Parkland students arrived and that they were taking a tour of the museum that day and having a discussion with some of the former civil rights leaders who had conducted the sit-ins at that Woolworths. And I had the opportunity to talk with a number of these young people, and I was absolutely overwhelmed with their poise, their reasonableness, and their willingness to talk about the experience of that tragedy. And I think that all of us across this nation ought to be respectful of that tragedy. But I don't know that this is the time or place to start developing it as a wedge political issue.
Do any other senators wish to be recognized? What purpose is the senator from Northern Fairfax? Senator Howell rise.
Well, I just have a question for the senator from James City County.
Will Senator yield for a question?
The young lady knows that I have enormous respect for her and consider her a friend and a colleague. The answer is no.
Senator will not yield. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Is there any other business to come before? For purpose, senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howell rise.
Just rhetorically, I have a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Rhetorically, I am asking which side is making gun safety a wedge issue?
Thank the senator. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Seeing none, the clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Thursday, February 14th, the Senate Rules Committee will meet immediately upon adjournment in Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. Immediately. The Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment in Senate Room A in Pocahontas. The Virginia Legislative Black Caucus will not meet. Tonight is the Page's capstone mock session at 5 p.m. here in the Senate chamber. Any senator who would like to attend and be a Page would be welcome. Tomorrow, Friday, February the 15th, the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services will meet at 8:30 a.m. Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Republican Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session, Senate Room 2 in the Capitol. The Democratic Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session, Senate Room 1 in the Capitol.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow. And when we do so in the honor of the victims of the Parkland High School tragedy.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow, and that when we adjourn, we do so in the honor and memory of the victims of the shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.